We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Welcome to Liberty Nation Radio on the Radio American Network. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. On today's special edition, we are talking Trump's Ballroom, the contenders for 2028, the upcoming elections, and the shutdown, and a whole lot more. It's going to be quite the show. Please remember, Liberty Nation Radio is sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. And here you are on Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio American Network. I am, as always, Mark Angelides, and we're joined by Liberty Nation's chief political correspondent and satirist, Mr. Graham J. Noble. Thanks for stopping by, Graham.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So, as a satirist-in-chief over at LibertyNation.com, you must be having quite the time with the Trump Ballroom and the left's reaction to it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's the first thing I'm going to say about this is that this is the richest and most powerful country on earth, and for the last decades, basically, when we've had heads of state, senior foreign dignitaries come to the White House. If they want to have a state dinner, what do they got to do? They got to put up a tent.
Well, they go to Buc-ee's. There's got to be a Buc-ee's nearby, right?
Yeah, there might be actually. But that's crazy when you think about it. And so the fact that Trump decided to actually build this ballroom is a great idea because a country like America should have this grand space to entertain foreign dignitaries and to hold major functions instead of doing it in a tent, as if we're somewhere in the Middle East or something. So I think it's a great
White
idea.
House edition. Yeah.
but it's great when it's finished, and they're going to call it, I guess, the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom or something. Yeah, which would be interesting. I almost think Trump should do that just
for fun, just
to troll them on it. Yeah,
it is quite fascinating. There really isn't anywhere suitable for that. I mean, there's Camp David, that's not suitable for. I don't think that's in any way suitable for foreign dignitaries. If you're going to have some kind of banquet like the UK, the Prime Minister's residence, number 10 Downing Street. I mean, it's reasonably big, but it's not suitable for things. But the Prime Minister also has checkers, and then you've got a wealth of palaces and castles that can be dealt with for these kind of things. Whereas America, I don't know, what's around the corner? Old Ebbets Grill is just around the corner from the White House, and I recommend their oysters. Fantastic, great place, great Bloody Mary too. But they don't have anywhere to redo that. And I think what most people are missing is that they're calling it the Trump Ballroom, right? Because it's being built under Donald Trump. But this is not going to be for Trump to use decade in, decade out. This is building something for future presidents to use. Yeah. And that's the very idea of why we plant trees, right? We're not. What's the old saying is you don't plant a tree to sit in the shade of it. You do it so somebody else can do it. 20 years down the line. And Trump is a master builder. There's no doubt. Well, he doesn't get down with a trowel and that. But, in terms of building some iconic places, he knows what to look for. He's got the funding for it. And it's going to be something that makes the White House better. And but there's so much opposition to it. Specifically, I'm thinking Mr. Eric Swalwell.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, this whole thing about this is a great addition to the White House as opposed to Barack Obama putting in a basketball court, which was kind of silly anyway, because Barack Obama does not play basketball, cannot play basketball. I used to play basketball at school, and I'm absolutely certain that I could whip Barack Obama at one-on-one in basketball.
And we know for a fact that Ted Cruz probably could as well, huh? He's quite. I watched that thing where he played Jimmy Kimmel and just demolished him on that. Yes, Ted Cruz might pop over to the White House.
Oh, you got a basketball court. Who else? Which president put in a bowling alley? So I think and someone else put in a swimming pool. So I think, in terms of additions and renovations to the White House, this is a good one. But then you've got Eric Swalwell, who is now saying that any Democrat who's even thinking about running for the White House in 2028, the litmus test for them, as the media has been putting it, must be that they pledge on day one to demolish the ballroom. Yeah, you can't even. That's not from the Babylon Bee. That he actually said that.
It strikes a chord, doesn't it? Because and I'm sure you remember this. It wasn't that long ago. There was the 2020 Democrat primary debates, and I can't remember who the host was, but she asked, "Please signal if you would be willing to provide healthcare to the undocumented." There's something like this, and every single one of them put their hands up like compliant little school children. And in 2028, when we see the next Democrat primary debates, maybe there's please signify if you'd be willing to tear down the Monica Lewinsky ballroom on day one. This is the new purity test. I think that's really what it is, right? It's not a litmus test, as the media describe it. It's a purity test. To affirm that you are, in fact, opposed to Donald Trump with every fiber of your being, beyond even plain sanity.
Right. Your Trump derangement syndrome is reached the required level of intensity for you to run for president.
It's the new social credit system score out of China. It's how high is you? Have you said good morning to 7 comrades? Have you hit a piece of metal 8 times today and therefore succeeded in your work quota? And have you dribbled inanely on the internet, ranting and raving about Orange Man Bad? So let's move forward from what Eric Swalwell says with his new litmus test. And yes, it is plain ridiculous. And let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen shaping the Democratic Party and what those frontrunners might be going forward. And we'll do that after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
We dismiss history at our peril. Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.